So when we look at low back pain, one of the first things we want to see is there a specific direction that the joints want to move, and a specific direction that the joint is stiff in. So the most common direction that joints tend to be stiff is into extension. I believe that's because we're predators, which means we have canine teeth, our eyes are in front of us, and we tend to interact with the world this way. The average person bends forward several thousand times a day. We don't really bend backwards a whole lot. So a lot of times we really need to start focusing, first thing is on that mobility there in the low back. So I'm gonna have Alouette come over and demonstrate a press up for us, and then we'll go through a couple of variations that we commonly have to work through. So with this press up, particularly whenever we're looking at pain, discomfort in the lower back or radiating pain down into the legs, we need to get to the point where we have the hands here underneath the shoulders. So go ahead, Alouette, press through your hands to lift your shoulders up. Today's arm day, I want you to make sure you're pressing through the hands, not pulling with the back or the hips. Good, and down. So you can see Alouette has a ton of range of motion here. There are instances where for people like her, we actually need to get her into that full end range. That's where the magic really happens, is when we get to that stiffness of the end range of the joint. So for her, we actually need to make it a little bit harder so that she can get all the way up. Go ahead, press through the hands. And then now she finally gets to that little stiffness point there at the end. Go ahead, come on back down. A lot of times we do not start here. This is something that we progress into this level of range of motion. And we may end up starting just here on the elbows, working on being able to get a little bit of breath in, breath out, allowing the muscles to relax right through here to really drop into that end range of motion. And then starting from here with the hands and pressing up from the hands there, and then ultimately coming up with elbows straight as well. Go ahead, come on up. Nope, right here. Yep, press up through there. So oftentimes we start here, and then once, as the joint is moving easier, we can start moving a little bit further back. This tends to change a little bit throughout the day. A lot of times we're stiffer first thing in the morning, so you may have to start with a little bit more of the regress position, possibly just propping up on the elbows or hands further out in front of you. Ideally being able to work into restoring more of that range of motion as you go through your repetitions throughout the day. Most commonly, the frequency that we're looking at this is 10 reps every 2 hours. That is largely because we tend to do so many movements the opposite direction. We need to continually throughout the day get that joint moving better. The other thing to note is we don't want to cause more of the pain down the leg. A lot of times people experience some pain and stiffness here in the middle. If you do this movement and you start having pain shooting down the leg, you're either moving too far into that range of motion, too advanced in this exercise progression, or it may not be the right exercise for you, and then that's when really looking at getting a good evaluation from a skilled provider that can help guide you through your entry point really comes in handy. So give these a shot. If they work for you, these are some of oftentimes the best exercises to get you going on getting rehabilitated from your low back pain.